Money, 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 money. You don't really wanna play. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. Don't never ever talk about it if you never had the clout. You don't know what to say, stay up out of my way. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. Keep playing with these goonies, boy, I'm gonna have to make the call. Stay in bounds on your pivot, boy, if you gon' ball. A lot of niggas be fake, and you really can't play. Cause we done got it out the mud, nigga, what you talking about? Screaming, oh my God, money got me pride. They living a lie, look into my eyes, they might seem surprised. This is homicide, we just multiply. We been on the rise. If we got some wings, fuck it, we gon' have to fly. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Day in my life, take me a different route. Use all my cash, niggas on my face. You can get it right, what you talking about? Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. You never crossing these borders. I'm whipping it up, Gordon Ramsay. I swear that I'm cooking these orders. You talk about me, you better just hope that you can just really afford it. I'm ballin', I'm ballin', I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm feeling like Robert Tahori. Nigga, I'm scoring. I count in the morning. They talk about me, then I gotta ignore it. My bitches be foreign. So independent, my money be corporate. These rappers is boring. You hate me and I'm always gonna adore it. I'm smoking that soaring. She always go ahead and let me explore it. I call her my Dora. You can go and talk about me, I ain't flawless. I go put my all in. If a nigga talk about me, then I'm gone in. You know that I'm gone in. Jump in, take trips, Pompeii. All day, always keep 3 stacks like Andre. I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it, man. And you can never, ever, ever get rid of that. So watch what you say, and watch how you do. If you playing the game, then you play by the rules. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about.
But welcome back, everybody, to Chef Rock Experiment Podcast. I'm joined by some phenomenal guests, some very special people in the building. If you're watching, I got a new setting, we got a new studio. Things are upgraded, so we're not slowing down because of the pandemic. When we get into that, I am in Oastline. This is Oastline's new concept that houses several restaurants in Minnesota. One of them being Queen Mother's. Queen Mother's is my new fried chicken restaurant that is an homage to creators of one part of black food, and that is fried chicken. creative, the true creators of American Fried Chicken as we know it, the black woman. Not just because she wanted to cook up something good, which she did, just because what was given to us, the situation, the circumstances, the ingredients, and out of that, there was a $1 trillion industry created. And it's time for us to reframe that narrative around black food and the original creators of it. And that's one of Queen Mother's primary initiatives to really, like Birdman would say, put some respect on her name. So we're gonna do that. So Ghost Line is a concept, a new collaborative concept, housing 10 restaurants, right? So we have about 3 chefs that are sort of outside of the Gordon Restaurant group. Myself, Tokri, which is Kriya, she's doing Indian comfort, and Hero, which is, he's doing ramen, and later on he's gonna have sushi. And then there's also the 60 soul other concepts, which are Little Beast, the Detroit style pizza, there's ice cream, there's red velvet cupcakes, there's breakfast joint, Ghost Dog Eggman. There's what else? There's DC Deck Pizza. They created a DC Pizza. So a bunch of stuff going on here at 2340 Wisconsin Avenue Northwest. You can order online, prime for delivery and takeout. You can't see it, but beautiful patio, a couple great murals, it's like a garden oasis, away from all the madness. But enough of that. 48 fried chicken. But enough of that. There's no such thing as a shameless plug. Couple of we're gonna get right into it. I have 4 phenomenal guests. I'm gonna start obviously over here to my left. We have Lauren and Courtney. They are the founders of we could just talk all about their mission, which we're probably gonna have to have a part 2. They're the founders of Everybody Eats. Like, I don't know if we can 151. I don't know if we can put that up, but everybody, and just for everybody that's outside of DMV, is ERR apostrophe BODY. Everybody Eats, which is a nonprofit here in DC, and they're doing some phenomenal work. To my right, in the curly W hat, we have Chef Dimitri Hector, and for those of you listening, you obviously can't see the hat, but he's representing the center. He's an NBA personal chef, and the man, the myth, the legend, y'all. The young up and comer, the man that's making all the waves in the city everybody talking about, my man, Armani Johnson, the executive chef of ABC Pony down in, is that considered southwest or southeast? That's southeast side of Capitol Street, down by the ballpark. Been doing some great work. So welcome everybody, welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Ladies, we're gonna start with you real quick. Tell me what Everybody Eats is.
Take it away, Chef. Everybody Eats is a nonprofit that we started this past summer that's focused on. It's a nonprofit that's focused on feeding the communities in DC that are underserved, especially Ward 7, Ward 8, but any tent camps that we see or anybody that looks like they're in need, like they're getting a meal from us, they're getting PPE from us, and whatever we can do to help them. There's a lot of people that we've built relationships with. We've been willing to replace tents, coolers, replace backpacks, and all kinds of stuff like that. So it really is about us making sure that we get plant-based meals out to the people in DC and making sure that they are able to sustain off of food, but also off of toiletries, and just knowing that they're seen as well. Like, it's not necessarily just about numbers for us and making sure we get out, like, oh, we have to get out this quota of meals every week, as much as, like, oh, have we seen these people who we said we were going to see last week? Like, have we made sure that they know that we're coming and that they can depend on us, kind of thing, when they don't always have that as an option.
Yeah. Lauren, let me ask. I said you're one of the co-founders of Everybody Eats, but tell me something about yourself that people might not know. Obviously, you love people, but tell us something that people might not know.
I was originally born in California, and then I was raised in Florida. My father's actually from here, and he and my mother met at Howard University.
Okay.
So even though I'm not from here, I definitely feel roots here for sure. I love DC, yeah.
How about you, Courtney? Give me a little nugget people may not know about you. People watching that know you might not know.
I didn't grow up here, and a lot of people think that. I went to high school out here. I'm from New York, and I'm from the Bronx. But obviously, I have ties to this place, and I love it in the same manner as she does. Something that people may not know, I can speak American Sign Language. My aunt was deaf, and so if everybody ever
said chef. So I just want to let everybody know listening. We have four culinarians up here, and two of them. I mean, no, this ain't no eight or nothing. You know what I mean? But two, three out of five of us up here.
Not just two.
Just two? I thought you were
No,
generally
no,
two.
I went to the academy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, two out of five.
Sorry.
I only like the whole three-fifths thing. So.
Right.
Jay Whoop Luke. So, graduate of Johnson Wells. I mean, everybody's experience is counts, but Johnson Wells. Chef Dimitri,
So,
NBA personal chef.
sir,
Tell us something about yourself that nobody would guess.
um, something about myself that nobody would guess. I would say, obviously, I've been doing the personal chef thing. A lot of people don't know I've been in Boston for a year. That was kind of difficult. We threw a cold out there, kind of a little racist out there, but still
Just a
cool.
little.
Yo, it's so funny when people bring up Boston. I got some people up Boston too. Y'all gotta picture the
Just a
city,
little
man.
bit.
It's like three bullets. It's like, yeah, it's really cold. They love the Celtics. It's a little racist.
Nah, it's a super sports town, though.
Yeah.
I will say that. I like that about it.
Yeah.
Even out there, they show love to people who, like, if you got any affiliation with any sports out there, they show love.
Yeah. And how long have you been cooking in total?
I've been cooking professionally for 7 years now.
Okay.
I worked in a few restaurants. The last restaurant I worked in was BET, Blue Dog Tavern. So that was the last place I worked, and then I just did the personal chef thing after that.
Wow. What made you go to personal chef?
I always wanted to do personal chef. Like I felt like working in the industry kind of took up like a lot of my time. So I felt like being a personal chef really just freed my time up. I meant like I can meet more people. I'm just more out there meeting new people stuff like that.
Yeah. Um, and do you see like this at the end? What's your long term?
So I feel like the long term goal is to open my restaurant. Of course, I want to open my restaurant me and one actually.
In DC?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still want to do the personal chef thing just because like I got good connection with like the people I've been cooking for, and I just want to get like more clients stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the end goal is to continue to do the personal chef thing, but also have a restaurant too.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Amani Johnson,
Yes, sir.
the human being, but definitely you doing the chefing thing right now. Make sure you slide the mic over for a second. Um, tell us, man, before we get into something people don't know about yourself,
Yes, sir.
because you're fairly young. I'm not gonna show my grades. I don't think you ever see my grades. But how did you even get it? Like, how long have you been cooking, and how did you get into it?
Uh, I've been cooking, I think, maybe 8 years.
Okay.
I originally went to culinary school for pastry. I just that's like no one knows.
Yeah. So you went to school for pastry.
Yeah, most of my degree was focused in baking and pastry.
Mm-hmm.
But everywhere I worked, it's just thrown in my mind. I don't know if it's because my attitude or just like, you know, how I work. But I started cooking. I've been cooking since I was a kid, man. Like since I can reach over the counter.
Yeah.
Really like scrambling eggs, flipping pancakes, stuff like that. Like when I got tall enough to like actually work over a counter, make my own like potatoes, make French fries and stuff. Like it's been a part of me forever. I used to go to people's house and like I would go to their kitchen and play with their pots and pans before I would go to like my cousin's room to go play with their toys. And people know me for that. Like it's just always been something I like gravitated towards. But when I started to grow up, I never saw myself going to culinary school.
When did that change?
Um, Me and him had a cooking class at Fairmont Heights High School. He was in 11th, I was in the 12th.
Oh, so y'all go that way.
But we're
Yeah,
from
we
the
go
same
way
neighborhood.
Okay.
back.
We're from the same neighborhood.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing.
And
Which neighborhood is that?
Sea Pleasant.
Sea Pleasant. Okay. I mean, you know,
Prince
we
George's
do,
County.
we do shouts around
Yeah,
here.
Prince George's County.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
that Maryland. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a cooking class at Fairmont Heights High School, and it was cool. Like we had fun going there, right? But then the art institute came and did their little they make their rounds for the classes or tour graders and to like promote the school and like, oh, you can be doing all this and all that other stuff. And so, as much as at the moment I didn't think about going there, I was at the point of like my 12th grade year where like my stepmom and my mom was like, look, you gotta do something. Because what you're not about to do is sit on this couch, sit on my couch, using up all my air, you know, the usual, you know. So, I mean, I just had to go. Culinary school, I was like, all right, look, I already know how to cook. I've been cooking, I watched these shows. Yeah, so I went to Art Institute. And then I hated it in the beginning.
You hated the school, bro?
I hated school in general. Like growing up, I didn't like school. You know, like, I didn't like sitting in classes. I didn't like the whole. I don't know. I just didn't like school. I hated learning. And then like throughout most of my time in culinary school, I was just dragging my feet. And then just I found some motivation.
I was gonna say, obviously, it got serious for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, shouts to Eric Bruner Yang, who is I don't know what his title is, the owner or, you know, for you to go into that role and get that opportunity, you obviously took it serious somewhere along the way. I mean, the thing that you made this, you made this eggplant carbonara, right? You know, carbonara. The eggplant appetizer was cold, it had ricotta or something on it.
That wasn't. That's.
I don't even care. You put it together for me, and I tasted that carrot agnellotti when you first were like before you even went on the menu. The brother can cook. Like I didn't even. I know we supposed to be eating our cars, but you know how your car's still running. I think I might have put it in reverse. Like, let me go ahead and take a bite. I might have ate the whole joint in reverse. Right? That's how good it was. But and the true chef is like, oh, I can't take credit for that. That's not my dish. But you obviously took it serious. What was that catalyst to say, okay, now you take it serious?
In all honesty, I found my work. I started feeling like I can do more, or I can be. I didn't, when going into culinary school, I didn't have an idea or a picture of like what I wanted out of it. And I met a person, that just helped me realize that like, you know, that I have value. So I started reading more, started, you know, paying more attention, started doing my homework on my own. I used to have people do my homework, I hated culinary school. And I got to a point where I was just like, all right, look, you know, you gotta grow up.
So who was the person?
Paying all this money.
Okay. No.
You say a name for a reason.
It's my duty. It's my duty to ask. Podcast host.
Not for real, man. Like, you know, somebody who also cooked, who also had the same interest in me. Like, I naturally just wanted to be better, you know, as a person.
Yeah.
And then, as I got older, I started getting that motivation, and I started depending on myself.
Yeah.
And then, I think that's when things started taking a turn when I found my own source of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And I set knowledge on, you know, just for the purpose of knowing, not for the purpose of impressing somebody or, you know, something like that. So that's when I got more serious about cooking. When I was just like, all right, all I got is me and these books, and I'm a hell of a worker. So now we're here.
And you know, you are really serious. And I've been cooking for a long time, and I think I knew this, but when I was down there, we were talking about yeast. I was in ABC Pony. I also cooked for an athlete and an NBA athlete, and so I see you know Amani a lot. He schooled me on yeast, and I was like, "What kind of yeast you use?" He's like, he looked at me like I had 3 eggs. He's like, "Nah, we make yeast." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "You can make yeast." He's like, "Yeah, you just," and then he asked me, and I said, "Oh, is that like Felicia?" Like, so that he just started going through the joints and started going through with this and that. And I was like, and I respect it. I love stuff as a chef, you know. I love hearing about the thing that makes the thing, like behind the thing. And then to be able to taste the thing is the joint. But that's why I knew, I was like, this young chef is really serious. Now, speaking about pivoting, Lauren, so tell me about, what did you major in?
I just went to culinary school. That's the only thing I ever wanted to do.
For culinary arts?
Yeah.
Okay, so how, are you cooking now? You're not cooking now?
No, the only time we cook is for everybody.
Okay.
Just keeping people outside, yeah.
So I love this industry. Well, I just love life in general. How we find the way to our things, right? To our past. What I say, what God put us, to do what we had to do. How did you? What was the? Talk to me about transitioning from like cooking to you're still cooking, but
Not
everybody
the
eats.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had always, Courtney and I had met at our first culinary job before, my first like real fine dining restaurant in DC. But we were always feeding the homeless, so we would be outside like on our days off and would go outside and be on U Street or be somewhere and hanging out. But then someone would ask us for money, and we're like, of course. Or like we're coming out of a restaurant and we have leftovers, we're like, yeah, of course we'll feed you. But we even did like this really, it, compared to now, like a very pitiful example of everybody eats, where we like had little sandwich bags of like chicken and mumbo sauce, and like people were like, that is not, what mumbo sauce is that? I'm not eating that. Like, where did you get that from? That was like the first real interaction with people on the street in DC too. That was like, I really like love this place. Like they gonna tell you how it is.
Yeah.
Like someone will ask you for money, and you're like, I don't have money, but I have food. We're like, I don't want that food. Like I don't need that. But no, yeah, we basically saw the need because I mean the world was going to shit, right? Like everyone's getting sick. People are losing their jobs. People are getting really stressed out too. And the restaurant owners that we were working with for, and the places that we were going, even to eat out, was like the industry was kind of dying at that point, right? At the top of, I guess, the beginning of March, and that's kind of where we shifted and decided, because the two of us were gonna open an after-hours place for people like us, because we needed to have somewhere nice to eat after we get off of work. We're always tired of trying to fry a piece of chicken after a long shift at like 2 in the morning, and we're trying to like make a sandwich out of the scraps off of your line. So we really wanted to make a place for people like us to eat and have like a really nice meal after they get off work. But obviously, pandemic happened. That's not healthy. That's not safe. So that kind of just shifted over into us feeding the people that are hungrier than we would be if we got off work.
Mm.
So yeah.
And who is people like us?
People like us in the industry, like chefs.
Okay.
So like we wanted to make an after hours for people who are getting out of work at 2 in the morning, but still want to like sit down and have a meal. And I don't want to eat McDonald's at 2 in the morning. I want to have like the same food I serve somebody at work. I want to sit down and eat too after I get out of work. So
Yeah. Yeah. And talk to me about, so you all in March you all started, right? You said in March you started?
no, in March is when we were laid off. Yeah.
Oh, when you laid off, I'm sorry. So speaking of people like us, people that can't see, we're all brown, right? We're all black up here. What has been your experience? And I want everybody to chime in on this. Because obviously the country is going through what some would call an awakening. There's definitely civil unrest in the streets. In the restaurant business has been, or the food business, we done pulled the curtain back a little bit. We made a lot of people uncomfortable to really see how this food system works, how the restaurant industry works. And we sort of easing back into status quo right now, but we talk about that later. But what has been your experience? Uh, how do you think it's affected black people, or your personal experience of being black in the midst of all this? And anybody can jump in.
That's heavy. I feel like if anything, it's there's pros and cons to it. It's more of like other people are finally seeing like what we've gone through and what our plight is and what our stories are like. Because it's not anything new, right? Like George Floyd is not the first person to be killed by police officers, and not on camera either. Um, it's definitely heavy though, because it's so much now, and we definitely live in more of a society that's always on their phones and always on the TV and on the screens, and like constantly getting that feed and getting that information of like what we actually go through, what people that look like us go through, and it's overwhelming and it's a lot. But I think it also invites change, and it promotes people to really just pay attention, be educated, and pay attention, and try to move to a better place for people like us to live, for brown people to live.
Anybody else care to jump in on that?
I feel like that basically like since like Corona happened and then like I had time to like really just be in the house and like really just dive into like what's been going on in America. I feel like it definitely opened my eyes, like definitely like make me want to do more like as far as just changes and stuff like that. And then just educate like my youth, like my nieces, my little brother, my little sister, just being like a
She's like,
She got it.
how do I assault?
She about to
Why
words
I told him to come here. She got it.
And we can, we can tackle it one thing at a time. Like if there's something that
Right.
sticks out more than others,
So, like she said, our plan was just being highlighted, right? And so, the only thing that felt right to me initially, like, it was like I wasn't worried about being laid off because unemployment was coming in, and I wasn't worried about trying to change over the business plan for everybody eats in order for us to sell food. Like everything just felt like it was performative, and it was like you were trying to do the most when you felt like shit. And like the only thing that felt right initially in June was like going out to protest, right? And to like be next to the same like black people who were fighting just to be seen and to be heard and to exist. And it's something that um, I think made me reassess my place in the industry, made me reassess my career and what I really wanted to be doing going forward, and made me, I think a lot of the studying that I was doing was about recipes or about techniques. And it turned my focus towards like studying food history and why, like what it made me like study food history and focus on like what I could do differently in what I was already doing, kind of thing. Like I didn't want to like try to find my place in doing something that I was uncomfortable doing. Like a lot of people were trying to figure out what role they played in the revolution, right? And mine was food. And I knew that it was food, but I knew that I didn't want to be in a restaurant to do it. And I didn't want to have to work for anybody else to do it. And when I realized that I lived in some of the blackest places in America, right? Like I hopped from the blackest place to the blackest place so that I can fully immerse myself in the culture. And what I realized is that the majority of the people that were on the streets in DC and the majority of the neighborhoods that weren't getting access to the things that they were needing were the blackest neighborhoods. And those were the places that were, oh, it's too dangerous to go over there, it's this, that, and the other. So what could I do as being somebody who worked in the service industry and like worked in restaurants? Like I could provide those same meals that I was trying to provide to like other people who cook to people who wouldn't even be able to pay for them at all. And so that was like how I realized like I could incite change in what I was doing. And that I didn't have to, I think the turning point for me was like realizing I didn't have to be in a restaurant to do it while all of this was happening. Because I could have been down about like being laid off or like trying to figure out what restaurant I was going to go into next to deal with a certain kind of treatment that like was the same across the board, you know? And we just pivoted and we're like, fuck that. We're not going back to restaurants. We're not doing any of that. And we'll make a way. And we did.
You're doing it. I love it. Speaking of food history, is there anybody that sticks out that in your research that or any movement that sticks out to you that you're really inspired by?
Um,
Well, history in general doesn't have to be food history, but is there something that in your research that really sort of said?
So in history in general, just learning about like, you know, you work in the food industry and like your family might have been eating well done steak the entire time you grew up. You go to the food industry and you're like, I'm not touching, no, we don't do that. I'm not doing this over there. And then like, even in doing research, it's like, oh, well, black people were eating well done steaks because they were changing the date on meats. Like,
Talk
in a
to
certain
talk
point in
to
time.
I love
like,
this. I'm gonna cut you off for 1 second because in the restaurant business, I've been cooking for about 25 years now. That sounds like the old. I ain't the oldest. That's cool. I'm good with it. But we often make these judgments, and y'all know, like have shit just be funny. Like we just trying to. It's most of the time it's inappropriate. But when we get down to the meat of it, many chefs were very guilty over the years of saying, "I will not compromise the integrity of the Wagyu." And I let that shit go a long time. I don't give a fuck about the thing is dead. And if the guy is paying $65 an ounce,
You were saying how he wanted
I'm deep fried. That's just my personal philosophy. I don't care. As long as you don't, B. Smith had a saying. I'm sorry, like I'm glad you enjoyed, I'm glad you finished it. Like I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it, but I'm glad you finished it. But often what we miss is the opportunity to, as you keep saying, to see people. We don't understand why someone eats their meat well done. I mean, it's often in brown communities, right? And it's not wrong. It's just you gotta understand. You're not talking about the Kobe or the Wagyu or this. You're talking about how my grandmama did it, and I can't butt up against. You're not gonna win against grandma.
Exactly.
So that's a beautiful story.
And that's a lot of the part of the reason why I cook and like why I'm so tied into like food history, food science, and all of that is because of my grandmother. And like no matter what I did, it was like study it to the T so that you can speak on it in the same manner as like anybody else would, or that somebody would think that what they had access to was vegetables and seafood and all kinds of stuff like that, certain grains. And so that's what I'm gonna cook for people.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm gonna give people access to because they don't always know how to make it.
Yeah.
Like by the time produce, think about back in the day, like you put all your produce on a truck, right? The produce goes to the places that are high end and more expensive, your white neighborhoods. By the time the produce truck gets to the black neighborhoods, everything is rotten. And that's the same shit that they're taking off the truck and selling to people.
Right.
People are either not buying it because I'm not fucking with that, like I'm not gonna give that to my family, but also they don't know how to cook it. And like that was like a big thing for me to be like, okay, we need to change the way, not just how people view how black people intake food, but also change what our views are towards it. And like it being like a learning process rather than it being something that you're judging people for.
I love it.
Because it's deeply ingrained. Like it's not just you, like it's your history.
Yeah, I love it. Chef Armani. Oh, please, go for it. Grab it.
I think what y'all were just talking about, it kind of goes into, it kind of seeps into the industry too. Like just those, like, like those, just like how you were saying how you're willing to compromise the integrity of the product because, you know what I mean, like you care more about the guests on this table than how they're used to eating it. I think when you get into like the kitchen, people have those, like words,
You got a chef?
no, no, I got it.
Like Black Church. Come on. It's all
Come
right.
on, Pastor.
The way people don't care to understand about why a certain group of people don't want to eat certain things a certain way can be the same way that you might treat your employees with your own ignorance to what they go through or what they come from. And most people live in their own biases, their own unconscious biases, and they don't want to level with people that don't look like them. And I think that's why a lot of people that look like us stray away from the industry. Like you had somebody who worked in a restaurant that they had their Michelin star when he worked there. And he decided to go be a private chef because, you know what I mean, like he would get that license. Yeah. He get the same, he get a different look from being a private chef from our people than doing with the chefs that are already there. I'm losing it.
No, you got it. I think I understand.
Hold on.
Yeah. So is it? So it's just. I mean, it's different. It's nuanced in the sense that can you bring your full self to the table?
Right.
Can you bring your whole entire self?
No code switching.
None of that.
Yeah.
And be accepted in that environment.
Or at least, it's just like the example of the steak is a great. So I completely understand. Empathy is, you don't have to agree, right? I don't have to, so when I say I'll deep fry a steak, I mean, I let this go. I'm gonna tell you the experience that I had with East Smiths. There was this guy, they had this dry aged meat. As a matter of fact, I had come back from Hell's Kitchen. Like, it was a month after I came back, nobody knew, you know, I'm just working with Gordon, and nobody knows where I was, except for the owner and the vice president. But I come back, and you know how it is. Like, I'm super inspired. I haven't seen him do sorts of magic with his left hand. So I'm just cooking, you know, I'm just trying to push myself as a chef. And I had this dry aged New York strip, right? Nothing super sexy, but for me, I'd never worked with dry aged meat before, like in a high capacity. So I had it, and it was served a la carte. Like, I was doing all this shit, dude. So this dude by himself ordered the steak. I think I had it on the menu for like $60-something. Not a lot, but it was enough. He didn't sell $60-something a la carte entrees. And he wanted it well done. And I was like, what? No, sir. And I told the server, you know, my very condescending chef way, please inform the guests that the chef does not go on medium, some bullshit we come up with. And then one fellow said, please inform the chef, cook my shit well done. And I did it, right? And he was a brother with dreads. I didn't even see him. He said, tell the chef to me. He's like, it's one of the best steaks I ever had. Went out to the table and talked to him. He's like, this is one of the best steaks I ever had. Let me tell you why I ordered well done. and he gave me the whole spiel. I forget what it was, but the opportunity there is twofold. Like you talked about, even in the kitchen and even with people, it's a chance for me to understand where he's coming from and for him to understand where I'm coming from. Neither one of us have to agree, right? So when I bring my full self to a project, you don't have to agree with my philosophy or how I speak or my cultural upbringing. What I'm asking as a human being is for you to see me and to just view it. You don't have to take a side on it. And often in the kitchens, we feel like we have to make a decision on motherfuckers. And that's just that we miss the real opportunity, which is to just let it be. You like this shit well done, that's fine. I like cooking it medium rare. I think it's better. But I missed the opportunity to hear about you. I didn't mean to speak for you, but I get inspired by those words. I want to ask you a question about were you going to say something?
Just something
Please.
small, but like in the same way that like the diner and you had a different perspective, it's the same thing that we would interact with when we went out on the street, right? Like we're thinking, we're gonna make plant-based meals. We're not gonna be in the temperature danger zone. It's summertime. If we leave it out at this tent, we're gonna do this cuisine and that cuisine. And none of us will be like, what the fuck is this? Where the meat at? Right. You see, I'm a grown man. I need protein. And there would be like arguments, like all kinds of stuff. And it got to the point where, and like Mr. Tim, love him to death. It got to the point where he'd be like, I've been waiting to see y'all. What y'all got to do? And then got him beating the breeze. Good though. I've been telling him about y'all. It's good. And it's like a completely different like interaction. And like he's not even paying for it. But it was amazing to be able to constantly see him and like him be like, oh, they're coming out here and like they obviously are sharing something with us. Like, let me actually taste it. And then once he actually tasted it, he'd be like, y'all, can I have two? Can I come in? We might want to get you a plate. Right. I'm going to save one.
I'm with you. That's the magic. And I don't know, like for me as a guest, when I become a chef of anywhere, especially if they're long standing, back when I didn't, have my own joint, people don't trust you. I don't know you, sir. Like I don't care what level. The new chef that takes over, now they're writing about, joking you on Twitter and posting all sorts of stuff. You see various faces and they cute and all that shit. Slim is a model, we get that. But and so the guest doesn't. It's a person, a human being that doesn't. I don't know you. Get my trust. So same thing happened with me. Once you see me, you just said it.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna say, okay, what you got?
Right.
Don't just tell me. Nonprofits, I've worked for nonprofits for long enough. They're famous for going in and telling people, eat healthy, grow your own food, cook 3 meals a day. And that tells me you don't even understand I got 3 kids, I catch 4 buses to go to Safeway, and they check my bags at security and Safeway.
Right.
You're not even seeing me as a person. So I get that. Let me stop rambling. Check this out. Chef Armand. Speaking of all of this, bring your full self to the table. Okay, so ABC Pony. Eric Brunian. Where's Eric? What's his ethnicity or nationality?
I believe he is white and Taiwanese.
Okay. Eric, who's made his real big market, it's John H., the first one. Before McCarroll. Toki Underground. Just killed shit softly. Then McCarroll. A few other places. Eric's a beast. Right? These are just hands down, absolute excellent. Some of the best cooking I've had in DC. ABC Pony is a mashup between Filipino and Italian. Is that correct? Or Chinese and Italian?
When we first opened, the idea was like Asian Italian pasta shop, and that's what it was.
And talk about the vibe just real quick. It's funky. Like I like it.
So it's like this real when you come at night, it's just like it's hard to explain. It's like being on in somebody's basement back in the day when you just kicking and eating food, listening to music. Like it just brings that environment. Like lights real low, we listen to like raunchy rap, the curse words. Like my dad would come in and be like, "Hey, using the curse words? Like, this is like, oh my god." This is Charles Blazer. This ain't even my type. When we're slow, Charles be on there picking the songs one by one when we're like dead. Like it's him, like mostly him, but it's like that's just the vibe. So
It's a dope vibe.
it was an Asian Italian pasta shop. Focus more on like pasta dishes or like Asian Italian influence, right? And It's modern American.
Modern America.
Yeah.
So I just want to, because you sort of just going by, that's no small feat. This is the beauty. This is the beauty of just cooks in general. You know, when I call myself a cook, the black cooks, I'm gonna see like you understand. I'm used to cooking other people's food. I think that's a lot of us, right? But then you say, I'm cooking this person's food, I'm cooking that person's food, and yeah, two of these chefs, and you're learning this, you're learning that. And then you say, well, what is cook your food? You say, cook your food. And you come and you're like, okay, and it's evolving, right? I think that's a beautiful thing to be that flexible and fluid. How is it how did you feel when you got the call? That's the first thing, like, when you got the call, I see you light up under the mat. Tell me the feeling when they say, yo, we want you to be the chef.